UFC fans know exactly who this woman is right here. UFC champion Ronda Rousey joining us in studio. And first of all, Ronda, it's great to have you in Seattle. And I'll let you tell us why you're here.
Oh, well, I am here for the UFC on Fox 8. It's going to be Demetrius Johnson versus Moraga. But I'm also here because I'm a Metro PCS athlete. And they just opened up all these Metro stores in Seattle amongst a bunch of other places. So they're doing this big old Metro launch, and they got me in my big old Metro shirt, acting all Metro.
I don't think that's a big old Metro shirt. I think it's a small Metro shirt. Let everybody see the logo. I mean, you know, let the people out there. There you go.
This is the part where I cut it myself because I was a fat guy in a little coat, and I had to, like, cut myself free. So
there it is.
I got good shoulders. What can I say?
All right, you do. There's a reason you're the champ. Metro PCS brings you here. We get a chance to talk about your fight career and, of course, unbeaten in UFC. You know, you're talking about just wrapping up The Ultimate Fighter as well. It's going to start airing in September. That's been a great series throughout the years. And now you're opposing coaches with Miesha Tate from Tacoma. How did that go as you guys wrapped it up?
Well, I'm not really allowed to say that much, but if you're you're forced to be around someone that you genuinely just despise every day, it really doesn't bring out the best in you. And so when I get fighty, I get like really fighty, and when I get girly, I get really girly. And so people are gonna see me get like a really fighty on this show. Yeah, the one side a lot.
Well, your fans know that you and Miesha Tate are basically enemies. I mean, so having you two match up as opposing coaches in this series was probably a pretty good idea.
I'm sure it'll entertain a lot of people and also convince a lot of them that I'm absolutely crazy. But whatever. As long I'm here to entertain you.
All right, that's going to air in September. Again, start airing there. So it's been a great series so far. And you talk about that you guys are set to fight in December. Yeah, I found it interesting that that you found out that the last time you guys fought, you said that Miesha came at you a little bit out of control, and it showed her weakness, and it made it a little bit easier for you to deal with her. How important is it for you to stay in control when you're in a fight?
Well, I feel like if you're always offensive, then the person's always reacting to you, so you're controlling their reactions by always being the first action. So that's really controlling your opponent. But I purposely try to get my opponent's head as much as possible and try to get under their skin. And in the last fight, Miesha admitted that she was so aggravated by everything before the fight that when the fight started, she actually blacked out and just came out swinging, which ends up actually being a bad thing for you. And if you're fighting with emotion instead of structure, then it's always going to be a mistake. And so I'll be trying to get that advantage again. But even if I don't have it this time around, even if she's calm, collected, and perfect, I'm going to beat her anyway. Yeah,
well, there's a lot of confidence from this woman, and for good reason. But when you say you get into people's heads, is it a little bit more about talking? Like you're as much a talker as you are a fighter?
I feel like I'm more of a fighter. I just happen to be a good talker, too. Yeah. And since so many of the fighters are terrible talkers, and the talking stands out more.
You've won over a lot of fans, you know, in your short time in UFC, and of course in MMA. Who's your biggest fan?
My biggest fan?
Yeah.
I'd say probably my little sister.
Yeah?
I think, yeah. Whenever I tell her stuff that's going on, she's actually the one that's really excited about it, and the rest of my family are like, oh yeah, we knew you were fantastic. Like, they don't even get excited about anything anymore, and then, you know, my little sister's still like, really? That's awesome. Like, I'm telling you everything first.
When you talk about awesome things, I mean, you're going to be in the new movie or next movie of Expendables, Expendables 3. How did that come about, and you must be excited for this?
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's kind of weird. Everything's really been happening organically, and I'm letting all the opportunities kind of come to me, and it just happened that because we did this last season, The Ultimate Fighter, and we had to wait for the season to air, that there's so much more of a lag between fights than usual. So it actually gave me time in the middle to go out and do a project like Expendables 3 and still come back in time and have plenty of time to have a full camp. And it just happens to be filming in a spot where there's a really good, like, you know, fighting base in that area, and so I'm going to be training all the way through. I'm super excited.
Oh, that's great.
Multitasking to the max.
I think it's cool. You stand next to Stallone during this movie. There's some cool Hollywood thing going here.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's not really sunk in yet as being real, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, best of luck with the movie. You know, you talk about Miesha Tate and the fact that she's going to be in the ESPN Body magazine. You were in that magazine last year. Tell me a little bit about what, you know, how important is this for other people to see that it's not just all brutality in the octagon, that you guys are beautiful women out there in combat, so to speak.
I think it's really important, and it's the contrast that makes it so interesting. You know, you're forced to have an opinion about women fighting because you have to have an opinion about it. There's no way you can be kind of like, yeah, women fighting is whatever. You know, there's so many different things, and people like to put women fighters in this little butch box, and we're not all like that, you know. And there's just as many different fighter women as there are women in general, and so it's nice to have kind of parts of ourselves that are usually ignored being highlighted, and ESPN Body has really helped out a lot of the women's MMA fighters. It's me, Misha, Gina, and Cyborg have all been in it, and I think the only male MMA fighter has been he, Cyborg, and John Jones. So it's kind of cool. It's been overwhelmingly women in ESPN Body.
Well, the photos are great. I mean, you must be pleased with the photos. And I know it was a year ago, but how was the shoot itself? A little bit, were you comfortable with it?
It's fine. I mean, once you're naked, you're not going to get more naked, you know. So once I did the original unveiling, I was like, well, you can't get more naked than this. But I thought it was really funny that Misha gave me such a hard time for doing ESPN Body, and then went around and did it herself. And then when she did it, they still had a bigger picture of me with my clothes on somewhere else in the magazine. So I was like, I still got you. You can't escape me. I'm still there.
All right, you guys are going to square off in December. Obviously, that's building up there for that fight. Before I let you go, you know, I read a recent article about you talking about, I'm just going to put it right out there. In fact, I'm going to start with the quote from you that said, Gina Carano was an amazing fighter and she had a fantastic rack. Right, that comment was in reference to being, you know, wary of a wardrobe malfunction when you're in the octagon.
Yeah.
You know, breasts as a hindrance in your sport.
Yeah, that article I was talking about, that was also on ESPN Body. That was the one where they called me up one day and they're like, hey, this is ESPN. We'd like to talk to you about boobs. And I was like, well, okay. And I guess a lot of the other girls that they asked about were not so colorful with their opinions about it. And I was just kind of like, hey, you know, you don't see big titties at the Olympics, and that's for a reason. They're not really as useful as, say, like a big butt is, because, you know, that actually does stuff. And so I was saying that as a compliment, you know, like, you know, Gina had a fantastic rack and she was a great fighter, and that probably didn't help her out too much. So, you know, kudos to her to pull that off. And yeah, they thought that was very quotable. So go figure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Well, you know.
I'm sure the other girls they called were like, oh well, I just wear my champion Nike bra and everything's okay. It's just, you know, it's making me uncomfortable and stuff. And like, there's no question that makes me uncomfortable. I'm not scared of a question. And so a lot of things get printed.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, you're a colorful fighter, a colorful personality, and that's great visiting with you.
As colorful as your tie.
Or your shirt, which is brought to you courtesy of Metro PCS. There you go. I should be getting paid by those guys. All right, well, listen, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And best of luck in December.
Thank you.